Alright, Duval, listen up, because this is exactly what we've all been thinking. And Bucky Brooks just put it into words that hit different right now. The Jacksonville Jaguars brought in Liam Cohen as head coach specifically because this man knows how to unlock quarterbacks and get them performing at elite levels. And let's be real, the entire fan base has been waiting to see Trevor Lawrence finally take that massive leap forward under his coaching. We're 7 games deep into this season, and while Trevor hasn't been terrible, he definitely hasn't been the consistent franchise quarterback we desperately need him to be right now. And that's exactly what Bucky Brooks addressed when he appeared on the Fran Frangie show on 1010 XL. Brooks didn't hold back, and honestly, he said what every single frustrated Jaguars fan has been screaming at their television screens. He wants to see Trevor Lawrence build that week-to-week consistency that separates the good quarterbacks from the truly great ones in this league. Now, before everyone starts panicking, Brooks did acknowledge that Trevor has actually handled the mental aspects of the game pretty well, and his game management has been solid for the most part. But here's where it gets real and where we need to see massive improvement. Brooks emphasized that Trevor needs to start making those big boy throws consistently, the kind of throws that change games and put defenses on their heels. The difference between being just another good quarterback and being a legitimate franchise cornerstone comes down to one thing: your ability to deliver in those high pressure moments when literally everyone in TIAA Bankfield knows you have to make the play happen. That's where elite quarterbacks separate themselves from the pack. Brooks made it crystal clear that Trevor has to prove he can consistently deliver A-level throws and A-level performances when the stakes are at their highest. And if he does that, we're going to have a whole lot to celebrate by the time January rolls around. Think about what he's really saying here. If Trevor Lawrence elevates his game right now, coming out of this bye week, the Jacksonville Jaguars are absolutely making the playoffs. And we all know this team has the talent to make noise once they get there. This isn't some far-fetched fantasy either, because we've literally seen Trevor do this before. Remember the second half of the 2022 season when Trevor got red hot and played an absolutely massive role in helping this team qualify for the postseason. That version of Trevor Lawrence is exactly what we need to see for the remaining 10 games of this season. Let's talk real numbers because the stats don't lie and they're showing us exactly why there's so much frustration in Duval right now. Trevor's completing just 58. 7% of his passes through 7 games. He's thrown for 1,620 yards with 9 touchdowns against 5 interceptions. And those numbers simply aren't going to cut it if Jacksonville wants to make a legitimate playoff push. These are numbers that need to improve dramatically, and they need to improve starting with that London game against the Chicago Bears. The good news is that we have a quarterback who's shown flashes of brilliance and has proven he can perform at a high level when everything clicks. But the consistency just hasn't been there yet this season. Now here's where we need to pump the brakes on putting everything on Trevor's shoulders, because while he absolutely needs to play better, let's acknowledge that his supporting cast hasn't exactly done him any favors this year. The Jacksonville Jaguars literally lead the entire league in drops, which is absolutely unacceptable and puts extra pressure on your quarterback to be perfect on every single throw. The offensive line has been a revolving door of problems, giving up 10 sacks and a staggering 62 total pressures in just the 2 losses before the BYE week against the Rams and Seahawks. How is any quarterback supposed to get into a rhythm when he's constantly running for his life and getting hit while trying to make plays? Add to that the fact that Jacksonville hasn't been able to establish any kind of consistent running game, which means defenses can tee off on Trevor knowing we're going to be throwing the ball. Tank Bigsby and Travis Etienne need to get going on the ground to take some of this burden off our quarterback's shoulders. The defense hasn't held up their end of the bargain either, struggling mightily to stop both the Los Angeles Rams and Seattle Seahawks from lighting up the scoreboard in those brutal losses before the BYE. You can't expect to win games in this league when you're giving up points in bunches and putting all the pressure on your offense to score on nearly every possession. This is a team problem that requires team solutions, not just Trevor Lawrence magically fixing everything by himself. But here's the positive spin that should have every Jaguars fan feeling optimistic coming out of this bye week. Trevor actually showed real improvement in those last 2 games despite the losses, completing 55.6% of his passes for 553 yards with 3 touchdowns against 3 interceptions. That's progress, and it suggests he's starting to get more comfortable in Liam Cohen's offensive system. Remember, this is a completely new offensive scheme for Trevor, and typically quarterbacks need time to fully grasp and master a new system. The fact that we're seeing incremental improvement week over week is actually a really positive sign that things are trending in the right direction. History tells us that quarterbacks often make significant jumps in their understanding and execution of an offense as the season progresses, and there's every reason to believe Trevor will continue improving as he gets more reps in this system. The reality that every single person in Duval needs to understand is that while Trevor Lawrence absolutely must play better and hit his stride coming out of this bye, he's not the only player on this roster who needs to elevate their game. Christian Kirk needs to catch more passes, Brian Thomas Jr. needs to continue developing, the offensive line needs to protect better, the running backs need to establish the ground game, and the defense needs to start getting stops consistently. This is a collective effort, and everyone on this roster needs to look in the mirror and ask themselves what more they can do to help this team win football games. Here's what makes this situation so exciting though. The potential is absolutely there for this team to go on a run. We have 10 games left on the schedule, and the AFC South is still very much up for grabs. If Trevor Lawrence comes out of this bye week and starts playing the kind of football we know he's capable of playing, if the offensive line gives him time to operate, if the receivers start catching the catchable balls, and if the defense starts making life difficult for opposing offenses, there's no reason this team can't rattle off wins and put themselves right back in the playoff picture. The blueprint is right there from 2022 when this team got hot at the right time and made magic happen. The urgency cannot be overstated here because every single game from here on out is absolutely critical. We cannot afford to drop winnable games or let opportunities slip through our fingers. Trevor Lawrence is entering year 5 of his career, and this is the season where he needs to prove beyond any shadow of a doubt that he's the franchise quarterback Jacksonville believed they were getting when they selected him first overall in the 2021 NFL Draft. The talent is there, the arm strength is there, the intelligence is there, and now it's time to put it all together consistently week after week. Liam Cohen was brought in specifically to unlock Trevor's full potential, and we're about to see if that investment pays dividends down the stretch. Every member of Duval Nation needs to rally behind this team right now because they're going to need that energy and support to make this playoff push happen. TIAA Bank Field needs to be absolutely rocking for every home game. The defense needs to feed off that energy, and Trevor Lawrence needs to feel that confidence and belief from the fan base. This is championship or bust mentality time, and everyone associated with this organization needs to embrace that mindset. The excuses are over. The moral victories don't mean anything anymore, and it's time to start stacking wins and making a statement to the rest of the AFC that the Jacksonville Jaguars are not going away quietly. Key names mentioned: Trevor Lawrence, Bucky Brooks, Liam Cohen, Frank Frangie, Christian Kirk, Brian Thomas Jr., Tank Bigsby, Travis Etienne. Summary: NFL analyst Bucky Brooks expressed what frustrated Jaguars fans are thinking, stating that quarterback Trevor Lawrence needs to deliver consistent A-level performances and make crucial throws in high-pressure situations coming out of the bye week. While Lawrence has struggled with a 58, 7 completion percentage and inconsistent play through 7 games, there are positive signs of improvement, and the supporting cast, including the offensive line, receivers, and defense, all need to step up to support the playoff push. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button and hit the like if you're ready to see Trevor Lawrence ball out in the second half of the season. Drop a comment below and let me know. Do you think Trevor Lawrence will turn it around and lead the Jaguars to the playoffs? Option A, yes, Trevor's about to go off. Or option B, we need more than just Trevor to step up.